A law firm in Panama had 5 million documents. One journalist got them all. In 2015, the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists received an encrypted hard drive. The sender was anonymous. What followed was the largest leak of financial records in history, and it revealed something economists had long suspected but never quite proven. The offshore system wasn't a bug in the global financial architecture. It was a feature. Before we understand what the papers exposed, we need to understand the firm that created them. Mossack Fonseca was founded in 1977 by two men, Eugen Mossack, a German lawyer, and Ramon Fonseca, a Panamanian businessman. They didn't invent the offshore game. They industrialized it. Panama geographically sits between two oceans. Financially, it sits between two legal systems, the United States and Latin America. That position made it perfect. Companies incorporated there faced minimal scrutiny. Ownership could be hidden behind shell entities. The money could move freely. Why would the ultra-wealthy and multinational corporations not use it? By the 1990s, Mossack Fonseca wasn't alone, but they were efficient. They created shell companies, legal entities with no real business operations, only paper. A client in Moscow could own a company in the British Virgin Islands that controlled property in Manhattan. No single jurisdiction could see the full chain. That opacity was the entire product. The system worked because it exploited a gap in how the world regulates money. Each country polices its own borders, but offshore structures exist between borders. A British regulator couldn't see into Panama. A Panamanian regulator had no jurisdiction over where the money came from. The feedback loop was predictable. Opacity creates plausible deniability, and plausible deniability creates demand. For decades, this worked in the shadows. Economists theorized about it. Journalists suspected it. But suspicion isn't proof. The system had no single point of failure that would expose it all at once, until someone inside decided to leak. The source, never publicly identified, had access to Mossack Fonseca's entire client database and internal communications spanning decades. They didn't sell it. They gave it to journalists. In April 2016, the ICIJ published the first stories. Within days, the leak became international news. Within weeks, it had a name, the Panama Papers. The documents didn't reveal a hidden scandal. They revealed the scale of something already known. Mossack Fonseca had created over 214,000 shell companies for clients worldwide. The papers contain names: politicians, oligarchs, celebrities, dictators, the Russian elite, Chinese officials, British royalty. The network was vast and, until that moment, invisible. What made the leak historically significant wasn't that it proved offshore finance existed. It proved how it worked at scale. The papers showed the exact mechanics: how a lawyer in Panama coordinates with a bank in Hong Kong and a shell company in the British Virgin Islands to obscure the beneficial owner of an asset. The system had a face. But here's where systems thinking matters. The leak didn't collapse the system. It created pressure. Governments scrambled. Investigations launched. Mossack Fonseca eventually shut down in 2018, but the structure it exploited remained intact. Other firms filled the void. The offshore industry didn't disappear. It redistributed. Economists had long predicted this outcome. The incentive structure, hide money, face minimal penalties, keep the profit, meant that regulation alone couldn't solve the problem. As long as the gap between jurisdictions existed, the gap would be exploited. The Panama Papers didn't fix that gap. They just made it visible. So what actually changed? Some enforcement, some transparency measures, automatic reporting between tax authorities. But the fundamental architecture remained. Wealthy individuals and corporations still move money across borders. They still use complex structures. The difference is now they do it more carefully, with better documentation, in jurisdictions that learned from Panama's exposure. The Panama Papers didn't expose a flaw in the system that could be patched. They exposed a choice embedded in how the global financial system was designed. Nations chose to allow offshore structures. They chose to limit their own regulatory reach. They chose to let capital move freely across borders while labor couldn't. Those choices had consequences. What the leak actually did was shift the cost-benefit calculation. Before 2016, using offshore structures carried minimal reputational risk. Afterward, it carried maximum reputational risk. For politicians especially. A few resigned, some faced legal consequences, most faced public pressure. That pressure mattered more than any new law. The broader lesson is this: the offshore system was never secret because it was illegal. It was secret because it was legal. Mossack Fonseca wasn't breaking laws, they were following them. The laws themselves were designed to allow this. Until the leak made the practice politically unacceptable, the system had no internal pressure to reform. Today, over 7 years later, the offshore industry still exists. It's estimated to hold between $21 and $32 trillion. The Panama Papers didn't end it. but they did something arguably more important. They made the mechanism visible. Once you see how a system works, you can't unsee it. That visibility itself is a form of accountability. So when you ask how an obscure law firm exposed the global offshore system, the answer is both simple and complex. They didn't expose it through whistleblowing or investigation. They exposed it by being successful, by accumulating so many documents, handling so many clients, creating so many shell companies that the sheer scale of their operation became undeniable. The system collapsed under its own visibility. The Panama Papers didn't break the offshore system. They revealed that the system was never broken. It was working exactly as designed, which is precisely why it needed to be seen. This video is for educational and informational purposes only and is not financial advice. Always do your own research. Subscribe for more investigations into how the world's financial systems actually work, not how they're supposed to. This video is for educational and informational purposes only and is not financial advice. Always do your own research.